31st, 2004.
Bullshit.
We started a game we never got to finish.
He stays in my mouth.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell?
Yo, peace. Power and prosperity to the village. Y'all already know what time it is. Y'all know what we coming here to do. Y'all know why we're here. Hope everybody's having a beautiful time, whatever time it is, wherever you are. You hear me? He and I is him, slim, trim, and I'm built to win, baby. This is numero uno. This is Flaco Ford. You're in McCoy. Delay. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate everybody jumping into the room, hitting the buttons, sharing, liking, etc., etc. Damn love, my G, what up, bro? I gotta add Magneto's name to the banner. Give me 1 second. Mr. Mr. and Mrs. Magneto. Appreciate all the support. Show sponsor for tonight. There it is. Boom draw. And it's boom. There we go. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate the support, my G. Support is dope, especially when people go the extra mile and reach into their wallets and give you some of their hard-earned money that they sweat for, that they toil for, you know. Gives you a little extra oomph, extra fuel in the tank to get you going. So shout out to y'all. Third shift gang, you already know. Yeah, this stream is for the ones that's up and protected the village, so women can sleep peacefully at night. Absolutely, my G. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about this thing. I've been teasing it for a while. I have. And it's not going to be the last one. But without a doubt, I've been stewing on this for a minute. And y'all know, I like to take my time, digest, spin it, cipher it through, put it in the mental centrifuge, and see what happens, right? Is he really gone? Is Charlie Kirk really not here? Is he in the other realm? Is he actually truly deceased? And the more that time goes on between, let's say, these heavy-hitting podcasts that are doing introspective researches and looking at different angles of this, the more it's starting to look like the answer is no. So I sat down and I said, you know what? Instead of me pounding through evidence, we're going to watch a couple of videos. And I'm going to give you my perspective on it, just from what I gathered. And so far, what I've gathered is this. The questions, why? What is the reason for faking, right? Your removal. What is the point of faking being deceased? People fake things like that to run and hide, start afresh. Those are reasons I came up with naturally in my brain. There has to be a reason why you would want to fake you being deceased. I'm trying to use the YouTube friendly words. Avoid jail. Avoid somebody actually making sure that you are really deceased. To start a new life, put the old life behind you. Fraud purposes, right? People have insurance policies. The insurance policy pays out. The people that are in conspiracy with you, they get to pay out. Then they go meet you in Cuba, right? Y'all live your best life. So I jotted down my ideas and my talking points. Y'all already know, I'm a paper person, right? Old school, real old school. Still right. I don't like typing. I'm still on that old school shit. Let me give you some of my insights before we start the video. Just knowing that it was revealed by Candace, shout out to Candace Owens, doing some deep dive work. And she had stretched her hand further than anybody thought this thing actually existed in. But I guess through research, investigation, journalism, you end up running into these other pockets that make you travel these different lanes. Where you might think you're just gonna walk a straight line, there's gonna be A to B, B, C, C, D, and you get to the end and you're at Z, and you're thinking that it's going to be a straight line, you're just going to get there, fluid motion, it's not going to take long. I believe that she ended up at D and realized that wasn't just a D, it was D1, then D2, D3, D4. And these different lanes that she started traveling has brought out so much more information. That's why it seems sometimes she's all over the place. That's why it seems like when she brings up these things, they're so far removed from the original point that she started at. I get it because I hear it also. I see how people could say or have that backlash that she's off the marquee and she's just talking shit. But for some way, somehow, it keeps coming right back. Some way, somehow, it's coming back. It's coming back. It's coming back. It's bouncing back to the original lane. So D went from D1, D2, D3, D4. Now she's back at E, F, G, H, I. And now she's figuring out there's more I. So there's I1, I2, I3, I4. It's different lanes everywhere. But they keep coming back. She's constantly coming back on track and making these things connect some way, somehow. Right? If you some of our content is not even long form, right? It's like an hour 15. And it's working. It's working because it comes back to that main lane, even though it might seem like it's going left and right and all over the place. It's coming right back to that main strip, and she's still headed to the to Z, in my opinion. From what I've seen, from what I've heard, there's other people. There's Didi has a podcast, Demetrius over there. There's Nate over there at Valhalla VFT. There's Ian Carroll over there by the E. Well, his channel is called Ian Carroll, so it's Ian over there by Ian Carroll. Everybody's doing everybody's doing pieces of it, and the more that is going down this lane, the more the more less sense it's making, and the more it's looking like that this guy's actually alive. That's why I asked the question: is this man really deceased? But we know from the beginning, in the very early stages of the research that Candace put out there, that there was some beef between him and his donors that are from that country, the most controversial country in that region. Y'all know what region I'm talking about? That the Iran, Egypt, right? That the country that just pretty much wiped out Gaza, right? For some reason, they're the most controversial country in that region, also the smallest. That just don't work for me mentally. Let me find a different preference while 100 a day. That's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is, my G. That's exactly what it is when you're trailing it there. Exactly. But knowing that he had an issue with that small, wild country, donors from that small, wild country, you can't just call a country wild, right? It's certain individuals from that country. Let's be honest and let's be clean about the things that we're saying. Let's be clear. At the same time, those wild people from that small, controversial country, those controversial people from that small country in that region, he had issues with them. He also said, I'm in fear for my own life. You can't not acknowledge those things being said and evidence that was brought forth. We've seen the evidence. We've seen the text messages. It's been shown. Okay? So now I go back to my question. Why would somebody fake being deceased? And I go back to those three things. Put your old life behind you and move on to a brand new life. To run from consequences. Right? To prevent somebody from actually making you deceased. And the last one is to fraud, right? So we have fraud, we have actually being sent to be deceased or made deceased, and we have to put your life behind you, to put the old life behind you, start a new life, right? That's where I'm at with it right now. There might be one more, there might be two more reasons out there, but those are the ones I came to, and that's where I'm standing at. But the player video right now, this video is from Allgeist, and Allgeist has a video about the whole setup, how everything went, everything. Interesting video. I see what it is because he used physics. He used physics to actually get through this. He used physics, nothing else. Sound, distance, angles, he used physics for this, which is hard to beat. So shout out to all guys for taking the time and putting this together. This is not my video, YouTube. I'm just using the video. Words are going to be said. They're not my words. Fair use, segue point, video. Appreciate you, MP. Appreciate you. Here we go. Thank you.
Using good old standard physics, we're gonna debunk that shot into the trunk. Are you ready? Let's delve into the details.
I looked at all the clips that had a good enough quality to analyze them with the software Audacity. Then I calculated the angles, distances, and crack thumb deltas. We'll take a look into two results on each side. For a long time, two options looked very promising. Either Kirk was shot by a bullet with 2,600 feet per second, or the bullet was fired into the trunk with 2,500 feet per second. But only one of them turned out to be true in the end.
Not counting gang violence. Great.
Let's look at our first recording. We have a match. According to this audio observation, Kirk could have been struck by a bullet shot from the sniper's nest.
Not counting gang violence. Great.
Could the sniper also have shot into the trunk? Yes. Again, we have a perfect match.
Counting gang violence. Great.
We move on to the next recording on Kirk's right side. Looks good. Once more, the calculation is confirmed by the audio observation.
Counting gang violence. Great.
Does this second recording on the right side allow a shot into the trunk too? As precisely as possible, it looks like we are heading for a tiebreaker. There's more to this specific perspective. Audio Freak noted that the left microphone seemed to pick up the sound a bit earlier. We could explain this intuitively with a shot into the trunk, but note that this alone does not rule out a shot at Kirk.
The recordings on Kirk's right side proved a bit inconclusive. Let's move on to the recordings on the left side. These will definitely tell us where the shot was fired to.
First, we're going to focus on this speaker number 5 next to the small.
He's in sound physics. Sound, like the sound That's crazy. I would have never in my life thought about this. But this is crazy. I've watched this. I watched this twice. I watched this twice already. This is crazy. It's fucking science and physics. This guy's like an engineer, some crazy engineer or something, and use sound physics, the physics of sound and audio. And he's going off of two principles, the crack and the dump. Crack and dump. Shot, contact.
All tent outside of the auditorium.
Yeah. Nobody want to talk about 304s and fucking and pipe and box. You hear me? It's too early for that shit.
The smooth concrete cubes reflect the echoes of that speaker number 5. That remote speaker is not timed in sync with the 4 other speakers in front of Kirk. Does this widely known recording on the left side of Kirk support a shot at Kirk? No, the recorded dump arrived significantly earlier than in the calculations. Will the calculated thump of the trunk shot agree with the recording? Perfect. We can overlay the crack thump analyses of the two options. There's hardly any difference between these two simulations at first glance. When we zoom in, we can identify a sound gap of 0.018 seconds. This means that the shot gap of 15 feet or 4.5 meters was amplified to a sound gap of 20 feet or 6 meters. That's why they tried to make all the cameras in that zone stop recording just before the shots using drones. Here we can see Adam Bartholomew, aka Life is Driving, who still managed to record that footage. His Ethernet device bypassed the local Wi-Fi.
Do you realize that? That was a stroke of genius by you, Adam.
You think so?
I know so.
One thing that...
Great news for all Charlie Kirk fans. He wasn't shot. And they used all these drones to withhold that wonderful information from us. Can a second recording on the left side confirm our hopes? The direct path between sniper and the person recording is obstructed here, albeit very slightly. We do account for that in our calculations. Is the Kirk shot on time now? No, it is significantly too late again.
Not counting gang
Will the
violence.
Kirk shot match the recordings on the left side for the second time in a row and for the 4th time in a row on both sides? That's what I call a perfect sweep. And that's also how it was throughout the entire extensive audio analysis. All the results were very consistent. If we only evaluate the recordings on the right side of Kirk, then both options are bang on. However, when we also take into account the recordings on the left side, the Kirk shot option fails miserably, while the trunk shot option continues to agree with the recording.
Right side. Left side.
Recordings wonderfully. All right, so it was a shot into the trunk, but did this then damage the interior of the car? Time to check out some serious trunk. Here's what they most likely shot into, a dark block of ballistic rubber. Put that into the trunk and it is concealed decently. They could have also reinforced the interior of the trunk with several layers of a bulletproof material similar to a bulletproof vest. Charlie Kirk defended the Second Amendment all his life. He said that keeping the right to wear firearms is worth having some victims at public shootings. Now we find out that Charlie Kirk faked his own death as a public shooting. How to make sense of that? So the questions remain. How did Charlie Kirk fake his death, and why did he fake his death? Let's not forget, there is a man's life on the line here, and that's Tyler Robinson. Here is an unaltered photo of Charlie Kirk just minutes before the shot. The lower left jaw and neck do not look natural.
He's about to get the science part. I get it. Makes sense most times, right? I understand what he's saying. I understand what he's trying to convey. This is where it gets speculative, but still feasible. This is it's feasible. That's the reason I'm showing it.
Natural and suggest there is a fake blood tube concealed under a lot of makeup there. On the right side, you can see how they prepared an actor for a slasher movie in the year 2012. There are a lot of things wrong with the shirt puff. Here the shirt is already puffing, but there's no wound of a bullet that should have caused that air puff. This reverses cause and effect. The shirt then bounces up way too high above the trajectory to be explained by the buoyancy of a supersonic bullet alone. Was it then a pendant that caused the shot bounce? No, I avoid the graphic images here, but Kirk can be observed rotating counterclockwise after the shot. A pendant would have then rotated clockwise to conserve the angular momentum, and it would have the left cheek. Furthermore, all the nerves in the brachial plexus under the entry wound would have been damaged, leaving his left arm paralyzed, but Kirk clearly was observed lifting his left arm after the shot. Again, I avoid the graphic images here. And the list of contradictory physiological observations goes on. We observed a continuous bloodstream and not a pulsating bloodstream, which would be required by a carotid artery being hit. There also was no exit wound of the bullet. Furthermore, Charlie Kirk went into a pugilist pose without any physiological cause. This pose is typically caused by a strong punch to the brain, like a knockout in boxing. Ironically, this also highlighted that Charlie Kirk lifted his left arm that would have been paralyzed by a shot into the plexus brachialis. It appeared the entire team of Charlie Kirk around him helped him fake his death. The question remains, why did they so willingly stay?
My dog.
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it.
Peace, my G. Hope all as well.
Stage his death at all. What a great team effort. Some 2 minutes before the shot, the bodyguard receives an SMS with some final instructions. Half a minute later, he reminds Kirk the fake shooting is going to take place. 1 minute before the shot, an audio guy reminds Kirk to pick up the mic with his left hand now to not interfere with the stage. And then it's Kirk himself who starts the countdown by tipping his nose. The trunk opens, Kirk confirms by tipping his cap in his ear, and the bodyguard also gives his affirmative signal. Then the decoy shot into the trunk triggers the special effects air puff under the shirt, and the fake blood tube starts spilling out. In the meantime, they also close the trunk to hide its content from the spectators fleeing the stands. 19 seconds after the shot, we can observe the trunk closed. And last but not least, the team member gives us the explanation of why they faked Charlie Kirk's death. He removes the SD card from the camera to prevent the last-minute conversation on the podium from ever getting leaked to the public. Again. Kirk's death. It was all a distraction from the debunked staging of Donald Trump's rally at Butler. We posted the video on September 1st, and they had to
Feasible as fuck. That's the thing about listening to different perspectives, right? You could hear something and not agree with it. You could hear something and just hear it out. Like, you know what? I can see it. Do I agree? No. Because comprehension doesn't mean agreement or disagreement. I could comprehend something and either agree or disagree. People tend to have this fucking weird thought processes. If I say I comprehend, if I say I understand, people then automatically believe that you agree with them. No, all I'm saying is that I understand what you're conveying. I think he's onto something. I do think he's onto something. Especially with all the other pieces coming into play. All the other pieces coming into play, I think this explanation is a fair enough fucking feasible explanation. When you put them all together, you could see how this thing kind of makes a little bit more sense that he faked being deceased. Or is faking being deceased and it's somewhere else, right? Let's move on to let's look at this one. I remind you, one of the reasons why, from my perspective, why people pretend to be deceased is to run from something, right? Fear, consequences, people, whatever the case is. About to bounce over to this one right here and check out this video right here. This one is Wolf. This is Wolf of Finance. They did some looking into the finances. It's about 18 minutes, but we still tracking. We on good time. Hope everybody's enjoying their morning, their evening, their night, wherever you at out here on this plane that we live on. Coffee, tea, whatever, stretching to exercise, whatever y'all doing. I hope y'all enjoying it, man.
Since the murder of Charlie Kirk, there's been
Thank you for kicking it with me. Hit them buttons, Dooney.
growing concern over potential financial mismanagement at Turning Point USA. I've been looking into this and have discovered some shocking information. We're going to explore the question, did Turning Point USA commit fraud? I'm Zach, I'm a certified public accountant, and you are watching Wolves in Finance. And I hope that they succeed. But they are not going to be able to continue Charlie Kirk's legacy if they are employing people who are stealing donations. The reason that people are concerned about Turning Point USA's finances is because statements
Jesus Christ. Fucking StreamYard, bro. Yo, StreamYard is bugging the fuck. It just crashed. This whole StreamYard just fucking crashed.
Since the murder of Charlie Kirk, there's been
Trying to fix it. Give me some time. This motherfucker just crashed. Yo, the video is low. I'll turn up the gain on it. Start real quick. Always something, dog. Looks like we're back.
been growing concern over potential financial mismanagement. They are not going to be able to continue Charlie Kirk's legacy if they are employing people who are stealing donations. The reason that people are concerned about Turning Point USA's finances is because statements made by Charlie Kirk himself. This is a memo written by Charlie Kirk on September 2nd, 2025, that is only 8 days before he was murdered. In this memo, he promotes Justin Strife as the new Chief Operating Officer, or COO, and announces a new Doge-style audit. After this memo was revealed, people obviously wanted to know what were the results of the Doge-style audit. Why was Charlie Kirk concerned with the finances of Turning Point USA right before he was murdered? Here's an exchange on X.com of someone asking that question. Why was Charlie about to audit the finances, and will it still be audited? This was responded to by someone from Turning Point named Tyler Boyer saying, "We audit our finances every year. They were just audited at the end of our fiscal year in July." He then goes on to say, "There is no scheming. Nonprofits have a 990 where everything is out front. No one owns anything, and our salaries are transparent. If you'd like a quick course on nonprofits, here is a good start." And then he links the accountinginsights.org website where they talk about the Form 990. Okay, number one, that response by Tyler Boyer is a little bit snarky. And I'm just showing you one of his posts. There are many posts like this, and they are all just as snarky.
That's a trash fucking way to talk about some shit, right? Condescending, being snarky. Just the fucking behavior over there is weird. The behavior over there is just fucking weird. Without a doubt. You can't deny it. If you know anything, if you've been watching this just a little bit, if you've been seeing TPUSA's reactions and behaviors, you cannot say It's not fucking weird. It does not connect. Everybody here has lost someone in their life. Everybody here has lost somebody in their life. Everybody has been through the grieving process, right? However long that looks for you. But the weirdness of it, the cloak and dagger shit, the non-answering of questions, that seem to have the lack of concern or care or support for the people that's asking questions. People are supporting and figuring out what the fuck happened, but y'all supposed to be the homies. Y'all supposed to be the ones, right? Like 4 flats on the Cadillac, getting down, whatever. But that vibe has not been given. Even the wife, her vibe is off. I said this shit when we watched the ceremony part, his funeral ceremony. That shit looked like a fucking political campaign. I said this shit long fucking time ago. Some shit is fucking off, and it has consistently been the same way. Something's off. Something's off. Something's off. It's not connecting. It doesn't connect with grief. It doesn't connect with compassion. It doesn't compare with real reactions. It seems all just production. It seems like a production, all of it.
I would like to ask Tyler Boyer if he can lower the snarkiness, because it is a very legitimate question. A Doge-style audit is not the same thing, and everybody...
Exactly, Biff. What's the need to be defensive about something? There's no need to be defensive at all. You're absolutely correct.
He knows that. Charlie Kirk wanted a second independent audit on top of the annual financial audit. According to Tyler Boyer's post, Turning Point is not going forward with Charlie Kirk's wishes. They have canceled the audit. The question is why? Why did they decide not to follow through with Charlie Kirk's final wish? What is also interesting is that Tyler Boyer is the person who was replaced by Dustin Strife in Charlie Kirk's memo. Tyler Boyer was the former COO of Turning Point USA from 2017. And then 8 days before Charlie Kirk was murdered, he appoints a new person as COO. Tyler Boyer steps away so he can focus more on his job as COO of their other organization, Turning Point Action. Isn't that a strange coincidence? Tyler Boyer was removed from his position in the same memo that Charlie Kirk announces a financial audit.
More weird shit, right? More weird shit. Imagine having an inclination that something is wrong and things aren't making sense. You know what? And the area that's not making sense is the one thing that we know, one of the things that we know people literally catch bodies for. People catch bodies for money all the time. People are removed from this planet because of the greed and the love and the worship of money. Every single 5 minutes of the day. Simply because they look at this thing called money as their God. They love it so much, it becomes their God. It becomes something that they worship and bow down to and will do anything for. Imagine having an inclination that something is wrong in the money department of your company. So you say, you know what? We need an outside look. Because I want my shit to be above board. I want this to be above board. I don't want no black eyes on my company. I don't want no stain. I don't want no bad reputation. I want everything here to be above board. And you start removing people. Come on with the game, dog.
Then after that, Charlie Kirk is murdered, and Tyler Boyer is on X.com saying that no audit is necessary. So here's what I think we should do.
Very, very true, Pruitt. Very, very true. And usually doing turnovers, because we do them too, where I'm from. Both people, the new incoming and the old person, actually do the audit together and bounce the numbers again. While a new person having a fresh eye, really looking at this from a real perspective, the old person has an experienced perspective. So one person, if dirty, is now being basically inspected by somebody that has no dog in the fight for real. Now, if it's an external, then the external person has absolutely no dog in the fight, and actually being hired for that job specifically just to do that job. Come in, do the job, roll out. Remember the movie The Accountant? He got hired to be the accountant, and what did he find? Found all that bullshit going on in the company. From finding the bullshit in the company, then he found out more.
We should follow Tyler Boyer's snarky advice. Let's go look at the 990 forms that Turning Point USA submits to the IRS every year. These contain their annual financial statements. When you look at the forms, there are some very strange anomalies. Several of the 990 forms are missing. Turning Point USA lists 4 related entities. There's Turning Point USA, Turning Point Endowment, Turning Point Action, and America's Turning Point. All different organizations do slightly different things. The Form 990 for fiscal year 2024 is posted for Turning Point USA, but it is missing for all the other 3 organizations. It looks like it was never turned in. This is a massive red flag. So Tyler Boyer is being snarky on X.com and telling people to go look at the annual financial audit, but the financial audit is missing from last year for 3 of the 4 organizations. Just to show you how strange this is, if we go back 2 years to fiscal year 2023, where we have all the financial statements, we can see that in fiscal year 2023, all 4 statements were filed on the same day on 5/15/2024. That is what normally happens. On May 15th, Turning Point would file all 4 financial statements for their organizations. But for fiscal year 2024, only 1 financial statement was filed for Turning Point USA on 5/15/2025. The other 3 are missing. This strange decision to hide their financial statements happened 4 months before Charlie Kirk was murdered. I will repeat for clarity. Someone at Turning Point decided not to file 3 of the 4 of their annual financial statements 4 months before Charlie Kirk appointed a new COO, requested a new audit, and was murdered. Those 3 financial statements are still missing.
Companies tend to have people that play certain slots. There's the HR slot, there's business and accounting slot, there's an admin slot, troops, right? I mean, your ground and pounders, whatever your company's mission is, right? Whatever your company's mission is, those are the employees that hit the streets, hit the ground, and do that type of trench work. Cool. As the big boss, I am almost positive when you're talking about this type of money, this reach, this type of activity, you are not the fucking accountant. To you, you are not the accountant, which makes sense to me because this is why you called for external audit. To audit the money sector, right? The financial sector, the incoming money, the money that's going out, to make sure the books are correct. So an external audit makes sense to me.
Let me give you just one example of why this is problematic. Let us look at the one financial statement we do have for fiscal year 2024 for Turning Point USA. Schedule I shows grants and other assistance to organizations, governments, and individuals in the United States. This schedule shows you where Turning Point is sending its money. We see that a lot of money, $8,560,625, is being sent to America's Turning Point. They are sending it to their own shell company. Now, this is not necessarily illegal, except for the fact that the financial statement for the other organization is missing. We cannot see how this $8.6 million is being spent. This is very important because there are strange variances around this money. I have pulled the last 5 years of 990 forms for Turning Point USA. Here is a table with contributions compared with the largest expense, which are the grants from Schedule I. You can immediately see a strange dip between 2022 and 2023. This dip happens because in prior years, they were sending money to Turning Point Endowment. They were transferring millions of dollars. This stopped in 2021, and they started ramping up sending money to America's Turning Point. Let's break this down. First of all, I find it really unethical that they were sending millions of dollars to their own endowment. I know that a lot of nonprofits do this, but I think it is unethical.
Not illegal. Not illegal. I'm talking about the ethics of this. Not the law, But the ethical nature of this, that's what he's talking about.
Donors know this is how Turning Point is spending their money. Turning Point USA is taking in donations and then sending the money to their endowment to invest in the stock market. In my opinion, they should be spending donations on operating their nonprofit, not on buying investments. As of fiscal year 2023, they had $61 million of assets in the endowment, which was generating $1.9 million a year of investment income. Personally, I think that's an unethical way to run a nonprofit, but that's just my opinion. But what is important here is what happened to the missing $8.6 million, the amount sent to America's Turning Point in fiscal year 2024. The amount of money sent to America's Turning Point was getting larger and larger, and because the financial statements are missing, we cannot tell how this money was spent. If we look at the prior year, the majority of the money was spent on other salaries and wages. How is this possible when America's Turning Point reports 0 employees? Does anyone else think that sounds a little suspicious? Let me walk you through this. We have the two organizations, the main company Turning Point USA and America's Turning Point. America's Turning Point has never reported any employees. Turning Point USA's number of employees has decreased dramatically over the last 3 years. In the last year alone, the number of employees decreased by 33%. That is a massive decrease in workforce. But while they are laying people off, their salary expense is skyrocketing for both organizations. None of this makes any sense. How is America's Turning Point reporting millions of dollars of salary expense when they have no employees? How is Turning Point USA salary expense skyrocketing when the number of employees is plummeting? And why are the financial statements missing?
We see businesses that want to cut back, right? Cut back on money going out. And we know that one of the first things they do is cut employees, because that's where the most money is spent in companies. So simply knowing that, I'm not a business person at all. I'm not a business person. I don't do business. I'm a blue collar, right? I spend fucking wrenches. But there's no way that's just a simple thing. They take the biggest part of the company, which is salary and wages, and they start trimming off employees to save money on that end. That's old shit. Even I know this. And I'm slow.
What was the $8.6 million spent on? In my opinion, what I think is happening is I think there are fake people on the payroll. I think that paychecks are getting sent to people who do not really exist. And that would explain why we have a company with 0 employees with millions of dollars of salary expense. What about Tyler Boyer's argument that they have an annual financial audit every year? If what I'm saying is true, why wouldn't their annual audit catch these issues? The annual financial audit for Turning Point USA, Inc. and its affiliates was performed by an accounting firm called Baker Tilly. In the notes, they explain that they audited Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, Turning Point Endowment, TPUSA merch. That usually means they audited all the shell companies when they provided their opinion that the statements present fairly in all material respects. That means it is a clean audit with no problems. I wonder if Baker Tilly will provide an explanation why they can issue a flawless audit report when 3 990 forms were never filed with the IRS. And just to clarify, Baker Tilly's audit opinion letter is signed after Turning Point missed the filing date with the IRS. So there is no excuse for Baker Tilly not to mention this in their audit opinion. Just so you understand who Baker Tilly is, let me show you a lawsuit that was filed against them just this year by a Catholic charity.
In a lawsuit filed Friday, Catholic Charities claims they're out millions of dollars after a former employee in their finance department misused funds. And that's not all. The local nonprofit is also going after Baker Tilly, the firm that was auditing their finances at the time. Catholic Charities provides a number of programs, including counseling, adoption, and immigration services. This 12-page lawsuit says the former employee worked for Catholic Charities for over 10 years, holding many positions, including Director of Finance. It says she abused her authority and misappropriated millions of dollars. The lawsuit claims she did this in 2 schemes. The first alleges paying false invoices. Catholic Charities says the second scheme involved the woman using company credit cards for personal purchases like Amazon Prime Video rentals, Uber rides, Ticketmaster purchases, and casino purchases from MGM Grand. The lawsuit also states that Baker Tilly failed to recognize clearly fraudulent purchasing activity.
The lawsuit alleges that someone in leadership at the
I think Big Tiff work over there, you hear me? Talking about Las Vegas and casinos and all the other shit. Who over there? Big Tiff and them?
highest levels of this Catholic charity stole millions of dollars. This was going on year after year after year, and Baker Tilly never mentioned it in any of their audits. It makes you wonder, are they even looking at the financials? This is the same accounting firm doing the annual audits at Turning Point USA. Erica Kirk assumed the role of CEO of Turning Point USA on September 18th, 2025, 8 days after Charlie Kirk was murdered. She has been the CEO for almost 2 months. She needs to answer these questions. If someone has lied on the 990 form,
she seems so fucking fake to me, dog. And I'm trying to be as calm and cool and chill. I'm trying to be respectful because who really knows that this man is really deceased or fake deceased, right? But nothing she has said or done so far comes across legitimately. It comes across without passion. It comes across like it's acting. It comes across so fucking phony, dog. I said this shit day one.
people go to jail for that. I want some explanation of why Turning Point USA sent $8.6 million to their shell company and then did not file financial statements. And Erica, I don't know who does the accounting at Turning Point, but if they have not been telling you about any of this, you need to fire your accountants immediately. This reminds me of what happened with Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is one of the most famous investors in the world, but a lot of people do not know that he got in big trouble with the SEC. This happened a long time ago in the 1970s. He had a rapidly growing organization consisting of all these different shell companies. The companies were transferring money back and forth. The companies would own stocks of all the other companies. The SEC opened an investigation into Warren Buffett for fraud. He talks about this in his biography. He describes a scene where he is sitting with his lawyer, Chuck Rickershauser. Rickershauser had been studying a chart that showed Buffett and Munger's complex financial interests. The complex...
That's a fucking crazy... Rickershauser? What a name.
He describes a scene where he is sitting with his lawyer, Chuck Rickershauser. Rickershauser had been studying a chart that showed Buffett and Munger's complex financial interests. The complex cross-holdings that Buffett had created looked suspicious. Rickershauser stared at the crazy diagram and fretted. There's got to be an indictment in there somewhere. Now, do I think that Warren Buffett intentionally committed fraud? No, I do not. I think his company grew really fast and things got out of control with all of these shell companies. He fixed it by restructuring the company and paying a $115,000 fine. I think something very similar is happening at Turning Point, and let me give you a specific example. In fiscal year 2023, Turning Point USA, which is the main 501c3 nonprofit organization, transferred $600,572 to Turning Point Action, which is the 501c4 nonprofit. This transfer was reported as reimbursement of event expenses. Turning Point Action then turned around and transferred almost the exact same amount, $650,000, to Turning Point PAC, which is another shell company I haven't even talked about yet. Now, this is not necessarily illegal, but it looks really suspicious. It looks like you are taking in tax-exempt donations at Turning Point USA and then funneling the money through your shell companies to your PAC that you can then spend on political campaigns because of less accounting restrictions. Again, this is not necessarily illegal if they structure their transactions correctly and utilize campaign finance loopholes, but it certainly looks unethical. Why is it that almost the exact same dollar amount gets transferred between the organizations? The difference between Warren Buffett and Turning Point, besides the obvious fact of the difference between private companies and nonprofits, is that at Turning Point, we have missing financial statements and a memo from Charlie Kirk saying that he has concerns with the finances. The problem with having multiple shell companies like this is that it becomes very easy for your employees to steal from the organization. Now, just to clarify for legal reasons, I do not have any evidence of a specific crime. We would need an FBI investigation of the books at Turning Point USA to determine that for sure. What I have presented are red flags and a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Wolf, appreciate your mind. That to the Wolves of Finance over there. Good show. Good video. People like you, I let y'all do y'all thing. Like I let the experts on those disciplines, right, be the experts. I let the engineer, physicist do his physicist thing. You, the financial guy, I'll let you do your thing. I listen to what you're saying. Once it makes sense and it starts to correlate and I can make it simplified in my brain, then it works for me, right? It's feasible. It works. The thing about numbers is numbers have to make sense in a way, right? They have to work forwards and backwards. Numbers have to make sense forwards and backwards. So then the number becomes secure. Like every part of the equation works out. And if y'all got the forms, the tax money, and y'all saying they missed, then sure. Ain't no reason for you to lie. There's no benefit to you, right? So I appreciate the video. But imagine finding out that shit ain't really making sense. Imagine being used as the face, the idea person, right? The real energy that's bringing in the donations. And when it goes to your financial officer, right? Your finance office, they doing what they want with it. Things aren't making sense, and you realize that shit seems to be a little bit off. You kind of comprehend how much money you intaking, but you kind of don't comprehend how it's being spent. Why is this not this? Why is that not that? Why? And you start asking questions, and you ask for the external audit, and that then becomes an issue. The questions become why? Why is this not working linear? Something's wrong here. We need to figure out what is wrong, because I don't want no smut, right, on my company's name. Imagine being used in that way, in that shape and form. How betrayed would you fucking feel, thinking that the people that's sitting at the table with you and breaking bread at your round table affair, right? Imagine if King Arthur sat down with the knights and found out the knights was scheming and plotting to betray him and doing shady shit, and not giving him all the information, using him as the face, right, of what the fuck was their name? King Arthur and the Knights. I think it was King Arthur and the Knights. Knights of the Round Table. Yeah, that's what it was. That's what I think it is. But that type of influx of money is bound somewhere. Definitely being involved somewhere. I'm jacking it. I'm absolutely jacking it, bro. Absolutely. It's too brutal. It's too much. Yeah. It's too brute, bro. That's how you doing me, dog. Imagine being betrayed by the people you put in position, believing that they bring an honor, integrity to the mission that you have given to them. But the whole time they skimming off the top of shit. What you got, MP? Could simply be those entities were all reorganized or they didn't have any pecuniary transaction that year. Sure. Yeah, sure, MP. Sure. I guess you're a money guy also. But if they don't have, don't they still have to file? Regardless if you intake or not, if you intake on a win or a loss, you have to file, because those companies weren't nonprofit companies. The only nonprofit company, from what I understand, was USA, the big company, the original one that received the donations. I could be wrong. Seems like you're a money guy. So even if you didn't intake, even though those profit companies didn't have any security transactions that year, you still have to file and say nothing happened. It'll still be on file. No? You still have to fucking file it. I have to file for mine. Loss. Got my ass whooped. Like a small business for the first 2 years, they don't have to file city/state tax. Right, but those companies weren't in a. That wasn't the first 2 years, 1 year of these companies. All right. I respect your opinion, bro. That's where you stand. That's where you stand at. That's your shit. That's your shit. My shit is common motherfucking sense. That's it. I know I have to fucking file for mine. First year, second year, didn't give a fuck. I had to file for my shit. So, because I don't have a nonprofit. So, either way. I think he felt betrayed. I think he wanted some transparency. And I felt like he knew he wouldn't get the honesty from the people around him. That's what I'm thinking. This is all thinking stuff. This is all thinking stuff. That's all I'm doing. Thinking about why would somebody pretend to be deceased. You said understood just the context. No, I'm with you. If this is your shit, I completely respect your shit. I completely respect it. I spin fucking wrenches. I spin wrenches and use common sense. That's my shit. People that do the money shit, respect it. Y'all know more than me. I take y'all advice. I listen, boom, boom. That's it. Accountants, fucking tax people. That's your shit. Motherfuckers who fly planes, I respect them. You're a pilot. I'm not. I'm a wrench spinner. NASCAR drivers, I respect you. You the SME. You know how to get down. Mechanics, respect. I respect it. I respect what everybody doing their disciplines and then becoming masters of their craft. Absolutely. Spinning this one real quick. Let me turn this one up. And after this video, I'm gonna do the closeouts. And just give my opinion. I already started to give my opinion about him being betrayed, but we're gonna talk about a couple of the lies that are being told and given out there that makes this way more muddy, makes this way more grimy, makes it look way more dirty, which makes it look like this man might actually be alive. And I also have a take about why he's actually not here. I'll give my takes on it. We'll close out and hit the buttons. I appreciate all the support. Y'all being here, showing love, hanging out in these wee hours of the night.
Further support the claim.
I said wee. I didn't mean to say wee. Pause. Renege that. We got Didi. Shout out to Didi, man. Didi been grinding. This motherfucker right here been grinding, dog. He been grinding. Shout out to you, Didi. You get one. Salute.
Claim that a lot of these people, in my opinion, are placed in front of us. We think that they're regular, everyday people, come from good families, work hard to get to where they are, but these people are playing roles, in my opinion. And yes, we've already covered the fact that she was wearing a Freemason ring doing her video where she was supposedly or allegedly rubbing the hands of Charlie Kirk in the casket, which I do not believe that was Charlie Kirk. Yes, we've already discussed her very odd and unusual behavior doing her tribute video and also doing the memorial service. I found her behavior to be very odd, which, by the way, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to go to her video and I wanted to see a woman that was grieving, and I was going to feel really bad, and I hated that she had to go through this. But I went to the video and that's not what I found. It was very odd. I'm not going to ignore my intuition and my human instincts, and everything's telling me that that woman is acting. And it turns out that I'm not the only person that believes that, as many other women and mothers and widows, and not only that, but white widows. If you all, for those of you who want to say that it's a cultural disconnect, there are many other white widows that also have watched this video that I have later found out that all feel the same thing. Her behavior was odd, but I digress. We've already discussed Donald Trump's odd behavior. not just on the White House lawn when he was asked about how he was doing less than 2 days after Charlie Kirk was supposedly taken out. And he said that not only is he doing very well, but he immediately deflected to some ballroom that they're building on the White House campus. Not to mention Donald Trump dancing and celebrating on stage at the memorial as if this isn't once again a memorial. But I digress. We're not going to talk about any of that. I have a lot of new information for you because we've also already covered that Erica Kirk won the 2012 Miss USA pageant, which was owned by Trump, which, by the way, in the evil truth behind the modeling industry on Patreon that I dropped several weeks ago, we actually just
let me speak to that real quick. I'm gonna speak to that real quick. There's this, what's the right word for fucking to describe this thing? There's this thought, prevalent thought about secret societies. And when you hear secret society, the very first name that comes up is Freemasons. And the role of Freemasons within the history of the world. Cool. But then the term, the group, the idea of the Freemasons becomes smutted, and people try to put mustard on the name, which then puts mustard on everybody's jacket. Right? That they're all a part of this evil empire. Because that's the exact fucking thought that comes right after it. This is why it doesn't fucking work for me. Let me pull down a bit. This is why it doesn't work for me. Every group that we've ever seen, from politics to hanging out on the corners, to radicalized groups in prisons, simply because a few bad people may have existed and worn the same garment. Cancel everything else. We're gonna stick with the Freemasons. Fuck it. Because a few bad people may have been Freemasons does not automatically mean that all Freemasons are bad people. If we want to take it to the race aspect of it, and ethnicity aspect of it, and nationality aspect of it, that means that because you ran into 4 bad Trinidadians, that means all Trinidadians are bad. That means that all Puerto Ricans are bad. All people from Ghana, Ghanaians are bad. It's judging a whole group, a set of people simply by meeting 1 or 2 bad ones, 2 or 3, 4 bad ones. Imagine looking at a country with 1.5 million people, and because you met 4 bad ones, you label 100.5 million people bad. Same thing when you look at the Freemasons. If you run across 10 bad Masons, does that mean that Freemasonry in itself is bad? Stop. Can't fucking do that shit. You cannot fucking do it. Individuals make individual decisions. One individual decision is not necessarily or is not, it's not a reflection of the whole. It's not. Because if that's the fucking case, then white people that run into black people have every right to stand where the fuck they stand at. If that's the case, then when white people say they be stealing and robbing, I got robbed by one beat my brother up, another one knocked up my sister and don't raise the child, right? And they say, well, black people are bad people, then that fucking statement becomes true. in their eyes. And then what you're saying is that because you think that same way about Freemasons, they have the right to say that, and then their statement becomes true. No, it doesn't work like that. Dog, you good. Yo, Biff, you good, dog. I promise you, it has nothing to do with you, dog. You made your statement made me go back to something I've been had in the back of my brain, and it's simply because it's a weird thing to just label a whole sect of people a fucking a derogatory name simply because one or two of them did something wrong or did something bad. It's just that simple to me. You can't do it. And respect to Demetrius over there, but he talks about this constantly. It's like, well, put bullets on the we'll put names on the bullets then, because I know Freemasons, enough of them. I really do. Talk to them all the time, even today and back then. So for you to stain everybody that says they are Freemason, right, because of the actions of a few, is fucked up. And I don't live in a life that's fair or unfair or whatever the case is, but that's just to me, that's fucked up. Because the same way they said these people are cannibals, the same way they can label something, and that justifies all the action that comes behind it, right? All the action that comes behind something after you label a group of people, right? That makes it okay. We could propagandize and talk down on people enough to make it something that other people start to believe is true. So now when these people get hurt, these people get trampled on, these people get completely genocided and wiped out, it's okay, right? Because you've been told and you've been taught and programmed simply to believe that these people are so bad that they probably don't need to exist. These people are so bad, they probably need to be feared. These people are so bad, they probably need to be exiled. These people are so bad, they need to be ... Whatever the fuck else comes after that. That shit needs to stop. Because black people could run around here and call white people child SAers. Right? They could run around here and say white people love to just go run into a school and lay shit down. It don't work like that, though, do it. Because we know better. Deep down inside, we fucking know better. So let's fucking speak better and let's act better than that. I'm pushing on G. You good, Abiff. You good. You solid.
Discuss what actually happens to many models, as many models was interviewed a decade ago, and they exposed a lot of the people that assaulted them and what it actually takes to become a top model and to actually win, and how Donald Trump, we also covered in the series how Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein actually worked in this industry together, both overseeing and hand selecting themselves many of the women that modeled. I want you to keep that in mind for later in this video. But I do want to share that Erica Kirk actually shared on a podcast one time that she not only never competed or participated in any pageants before, but she also never done any modeling at any point in her life until one random day to start doing it. So the story is something that takes many women years and years and years to perfect and to accomplish. Erica Kirk was able to join and win Miss USA or Miss Arizona within a year or two in the business. Now, once again, in that Patreon video that I dropped a few weeks ago, many of the models talk about how there's only about 1% to 2% of all models, regardless of what they look like, regardless of how good they are, that actually wins, because it's more than just your performance that gets you there. But I digress, because it gets weirder. Erica Kirk was also a casting director at the same exact time that she was modeling. Now, it's not clear if she was a casting director for Trump or not, but at the same time that all this was happening, she also owned a ministry that partnered with the U.S. military in Romania. And in the same area where they were working, the locals were accusing many evangelical ministries of kidnapping children. Now, that doesn't mean that Erica Kirk did this. I'm not accusing her of orchestrating these things or being behind this, but it is responsible for me to state that during the same time and the same area that her ministry was working, many of them were being accused of kidnapping and trafficking children. And yes, the responsible thing to say is many locals could be lying. That's true. But these children were being sent to Israel, the UK, and other unknown islands.
Didi, I'm going to email you soon so we can sit down and chop it up. Because I would love to chop it up with you, right? Bang on some topics, spin ideas, right? I know what you're talking about. This shit, I already know what you're talking about. the Romanian angels. That I already know what you're talking about. I'm trying to find information like a motherfucker, G. I'm trying, dog. But I read into like 4 or 5 dead ends already. But yes, I'm tracking what you're talking about.
Also want to state that Erica Kirk also visited the Pentagon in 2012 while she was modeling.
So I've been able to travel to the Pentagon. I've been able to meet General Salazar, who's actually out here in Arizona. And I've also been able to donate a Johnny's Locker to the Sojourner Center, which you're looking at right now.
Wow.
So there's been a lot of things that have been going on, from working in the military to traveling to just being able to get out.
Well, here's another good one for you. Did any of you know that before any of this, any of the pageants, any of the modeling, Erica Kirk, before she was Erica Kirk, was actually an actress on television? Here's a clip from Bravo's reality show, Summer House. Well, how about this? Did you all know that Erica Kirk's mom not only worked closely with the government, but specifically with Homeland Security and the Department of Defense?
Can I ask a question? It's off topic. How did your mom choose Phoenix?
So she chose to move to Phoenix from Ohio because there was more of an opportunity for a female business owner out here, especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense. And so she had other business partners that were out here that were already in that industry.
In fact, do you even know who Erica Kirk's parents are altogether? It says here, Erica Kirk's parents are Kent and Melanie Frantzvee. Kent Frantzvee was a prominent figure in the defense industry, having chaired Raytheon's Israel division and been involved in significant military projects, including the Iron Dome. Melanie Frantzvee's background is less publicly detailed, but the family has been noted for their connections to conservative and pro-Israel circles. Erica's upbringing in this environment, combined with her own public roles, has placed her at the center of discussions regarding influence and alleged covert operations. Now, would you look at that? So that means not only was her family, currently her family is very well connected, but they're connected to Israel, the same foreign nation that many Americans are not rocking with right now, including myself. And I guess that could further explain Charlie Kirk's undeniable record over the years when it comes to Israel. I don't think many people ever thought that it was just strictly about the Bible. But this also means that Erica Kirk was successful and a millionaire well before she met Charlie Kirk, because of all these ventures that she was placed into before she met him. And now she is the CEO of Turning Point USA. But let's continue. Did you know that she is actually currently considered the most powerful woman in the country? And many are suggesting that she should run for vice president in 2028 alongside JD Vance, as many view Charlie Kirk as a future presidential candidate himself. And it also doesn't help when there are emails going out from Turning Point USA where Erica is stating that she will, quote unquote, carry Charlie's torch. But we'll see. Let's talk about Erica and Charlie's first date. Apparently, it was for a job interview only after a quote unquote close friend recommended that Charlie should hire her as they were celebrating a new Turning Point USA location. This was back in 2018, which is only 2 years after Charlie and Trump started working together on Trump's campaign.
Dog, God, I'm trying to not be salacious, dog. I swear it. I swear it. This shit sounds like I'm sleeping with the enemy shit. That's all I'm gonna say. This shit starting to really, really look like sleeping with the enemy. You get it? Great.
Remember, at this time, Erica Kirk had already been working under Trump in the modeling industry. So it would make the most sense to me that either Trump or someone close to Trump. So
we're here at Bill's Burgers in New York City. And right near this very table is the first time Dad met Mama. And he started as a job, and I was asking all these questions.
One more thing I gotta drop. One more thing I gotta drop, and then I'm telling you, I'm not trying to be salacious. You know that's not my style. I just want to say it in the right way. Between that whole setup between Charlie and Erica, nobody's ever really seen these kids. Don't know what their face look like. Every time you see them, you never see these kids walk into them. You never see their face. You never see what these kids look like. I comprehend it, right? To keep your kid identity and all the other shit. But why not just keep them completely the fuck off the internet then? I have 2 kids. Cool. That's it. That's just a little bit weird for some people that live so out in the world, so out in the media space, right? But you want to keep your kids private, then keep them completely private then. My take.
Philosophy.
I think it's weird.
Religion, Jesus, and then I realized
if she's gonna turn her face, look at this. Look at it.
I started as a job.
Look like she's gonna turn her face close enough so you could get a visual of her. But he uses her arm to block it and push her head back.
And I was asking all these questions, philosophy, religion, Jesus, and then I realized Mama was beautiful and smart and elegant and Christ-like. And so I said, forget this job interview. I want to date you. And I said, I have enough friends. And that's where your journey started.
And I've already covered the weird story of the 72-year-old man.
I get it. Hide them, protect them. I completely get it. Believe the motherfucking internet then. It's that simple. Indeed, we can't comprehend it. Yeah. It's so mysterious, dog. This shit comes off like sleeping with the fucking enemy. It comes off so set up. It's so set up. And I'm a person that believes that relationships are practical. I believe that relationships are super, super, super practical. I fucking swear it down. They're very fucking practical. They're not Disney fantasy world. It's not this fucking knight in shining armor shit. It ain't the 666 bullshit that these motherfuckers is preaching. I believe relationships are very fucking practical. You get 2 people that are aligned with goals, and y'all get the fuck down the road.
That supposedly started Turning Point USA with an 18-year-old Charlie Kirk after convincing him not to go to college. But I digress. Anyways, Erica has also shared the story of seeing Charlie in Israel. So there's the Israel plug once again. And notice that he looked familiar, but was too afraid to approach him. And then they would run into each other again in America, supposedly. And if I haven't blown your mind yet, keep listening. Did you know that Charlie Kirk's family was closely and heavily tied to Donald Trump as well, as his parents worked really, really closely in the Trump Tower? It says here, late Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk's parents were longtime Trump allies. Charlie Kirk's parents worked with Donald Trump long before the presidency. Unlike their extraordinarily famous son, Charlie's parents did not spend a lot of time in the spotlight. Not much is known about his mother, Kimberly Ann Kirk, but we do know that Charlie's father was Robert K. Kirk, and Robert had a pretty strong connection with Trump long before his son did. It's unclear exactly how Charlie and Trump became acquainted, but it's likely that it was through his father and the work he once did for the Trump organization. Kimberly's career and her affiliations are mostly unknown, while Robert was a businessman who worked as a project architect manager on Trump Tower in New York City. Now, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Once again, as I always say, it's the weird connections. How many people do you know are able to create a multi-million, well over $100 million yearly annual budget organization by the time they're 25 years old? Not saying that it's impossible, not saying it's never been done before, but you have to be connected to the right people. You have to be selected to do these type of things in this world. What we were taught as children, how you can do it, you can make it, and you can become whatever you want. It's a lot of stuff that was left out, like privilege, like connections, like being a part of these secret organizations and societies. But not only that, Erica,
nepotism
University, which is Regis University, located in Denver, Colorado, and her grandfather is a guy by the name of Carl Kenneth Franzvi, who was the vice president of American Banking Note Corporation, which is the same one tied to secure printing and IDs, and was Grand Chief of the Independent Order of Vikings, knighted by the King of Sweden. But we go a little bit deeper. Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA UK launched at the Royal Automobile Club under Prince Michael of Kent, Grand Master of Freemasonry. George Farmer, who was Candace Owens' husband, sat as chairman, tied to Andrew Tate long before Candace. So it begs the question, is Erica Kirk a CIA Mossad plant cosplaying as a trad wife that was hand-selected to be Charlie Kirk's wife? One could even argue similar to how Melania was hand-selected for.
This is where I see how DD brain works. And I get it. I get exactly what he's saying. Everything is so well put together. And we live in a world of so much fucking chaos that when you see these things that look so set, it's so set. Everything is just so connected. Everything is just so perfectly organized, and it's presented in such a great package. And you sit there and you be like, how the fuck? But then again, people so fucking asleep, they still today believe that 2 planes ran into 2 buildings in NYC. Plane destroyed, building destroyed. But you found passports made out of fucking paper. The same passports that were on a plane that was destroyed. That's the type of fucking world we live in. People are so locked and lost in thought and in fuckery that there's people walking around today that think passports, not for nobody fucking else, but the specific people, passports survived. That's the fucking world we live in. That's the thought processes of these people. These people's brain can't comprehend the most simplest and most nonsensical things that when they fucking hear it, alarms don't even go off. There's no fucking alarm. Nobody's upstairs because they're fucking NPCs at the end of the day. That's the world we live in.
Mr. Donald Trump himself. But I'm not done. The biggest red flag, in my opinion, whether you all agree with me or not, is Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk's children. Now, I noticed this before, but it's really stood out to me since. Can anybody, anywhere, on any platform, Google, Instagram, YouTube, interviews, can anybody find a solid photo of what Erica and Charlie Kirk's children looks like?
Oh.
Yep, you heard me right. Because that matters. Because you have some people who are going as far to say that they believe that this Erica Kirk and this Charlie Kirk relationship was completely arranged and that they probably weren't together like the public thought that they were. Much like how a lot of celebrity relationships are arranged to make power couples, to bring in more fans, more attention, a better dynamic. Because whenever you have a spouse, it just looks better. Sort of how that works in the industry, in the music industry or in Hollywood. What makes it any different here? I went to Erica Kirk's Instagram, and just about everywhere I went to look, it's very difficult to find any photo.
We live in a world where people believe somebody broke down a 30-06 rifle and stuck it in a fucking backpack. But Trin, not everybody understands the length of rifles, and not everybody hunts, and not everybody. They plastered the rifle across every fucking news network on the planet. And you telling me there's a backpack? A backpack? You could. We live in a world where people think Mangione did that dirty work and kept the same strap all that time to get rid of it. He was in a different fucking state, but he kept the fucking strap that he dropped the body with. And while he kept the strap, he reloaded the strap and made sure the mag was full again. What the fuck are we really talking about, dog, at the end of the day? What are we talking about? You drop a body in NY, but the mag you get found with is full. The same mag from the same rack with the silencer piece and the manifesto, everything is put so neatly together. Yo, Pruitt, I'm a mechanic for planes. There's these things called, they call them black boxes. They call them black boxes. I think we all heard about black boxes at this point, right? Because especially when we talked about the Malaysia flight, the 9/11, and it was something else that had black box, that great black box conversation, right? That people was like, oh, the black box of the recorders of the aircraft, and they built to withstand everything, and they have ejection, they have all these pyrotechnics with it, where it can leave the plane out. Yes, cool, that exists. Where the fuck is the black boxes? Titanium gone, but pay. Mangione gets caught with. You didn't get rid of it. You did the deed. You did the dirt. You didn't get rid of it. So that means you wasn't trying to. So if you was ever supposed to be in action with the authorities, you're going to grab that and get down, right? Because you ain't going down. What are we talking about? We are talking about way wild things that don't even line up. We're talking about this weird kid that stuffed a 30-yard six in a backpack, had a conversation with his significant other, and laid everything so perfectly.
Not only of their children, whether they're in interviews, whether they're out to eat, whether they're at the zoo, whether they're walking in the park, they always have their children's face hidden. But it's also very difficult to find any pictures of Erica Kirk pregnant. Even though it's easy to fake pregnancies, it was very difficult to find that. Now, for those of you who want to be devil's advocate, you're going to say, well, I mean, a lot of parents do that, right? Like I know for a fact, J. Cole, the rapper J. Cole, is very difficult to find his children anywhere on the internet as well, right? But I think you can find 1 or 2 photos of what they look like. It's because he wants to keep his children out of the spotlight. He don't want to ever use it. He's talked about this in his music over the years. He does not want his children to be used to gain attention or sympathy or more fans. He wants people to like him for his music or dislike him for his music. He don't want to use his family for that reason. Are you all going to make that same argument for a person like Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk, who encourage people to get married, have children, build a legacy? You're going to not show what your children look like? And it's very, very orchestrated. In every video and photo, they go out their way to make sure that their children's faces is completely turned. They'll cut the video short before their child's face is shown. That's weird to me. That's weird to me. Now, for those of you who want to say, IDD, what's your point? What are you getting at? Well, I don't fully know what I'm getting at outside of the fact that, once again, there are many more red flags when it comes to this situation. Things aren't adding up, and there's a certain picture that's being painted here. And the more and more we investigate, it's becoming more and more obvious to me that these people that are placed in front of us are not who we think, even though we want to believe that so badly. They're just not, right? So at the very least, that's what I'm stating, right? Will I go as far to say that this relationship was arranged? I'm open to believing that. I'm also open to believing that this assassination may have not been an assassination, right? I'm not going to full out come on and just say that as of yet, but I'll include the video that's convinced me that Charlie Kirk may have even been in on it. I'll include that version on Patreon. Because, of course, for obvious reasons, I can't include that on YouTube. But I will say this, I'll make it free for everybody to watch. You don't have to pay. You just have to become a free.
Didi, appreciate you, bro. Big salute to you. Like I said, I'll shoot you an email. I'll chop it up with you. I would like to chop it up with you and spin some shit back and forth. You hear me? Boom, draw. Like my man say, back on me. All right, this is my take on the whole shit. We know why somebody would fake. Let me get my notes. He saw the corruption. Asked for the audit. That became an issue. There was an issue, allegedly, in the Hamptons. There was an issue. Then after that, a donor, a big donor, backed out because his stance on the controversial people from our small country in that region started to act the fuck up. And he said that they were leaning into all the negative stereotypes that were given to those people. He was talking about Zionists. He started to see it for himself. So on top of the people around him feeling betrayed, on top of him realizing that he's sleeping with the enemy, on top of him realizing that they jacking bread and doing what the fuck they want with it, let me get the fuck out of here. This is where this conversation to me goes off the rails. You still have to plan the whole scheme to get the fuck out of there. Who could you trust for real, to get you out of there in a manner which makes sense, that doesn't draw more bullshit to it? Like, it looks clean. Cool. Well, the security team is definitely in on it. Say, all right, cool. So why does the security team not work for me? Because security team said there was no drones. But then apparently there was drones, not only from them, but we've seen when ARC guys showed there were drones available that people probably fill out the forms for at UVU and got drone footage. So there's drones flying around. So drone capability is there. Well, wouldn't that mean that the security team was in on it because they didn't fly the drones? No. Security team is not in on it because Buddy took down the camera and took the SD card out of it. So he is having a change of heart, a change of trust. He's not trusting the people that surround him anymore. He's not fucking with the donors like that anymore. He's being outspoken about the bullshit that's going on over there in that fucking region and what those Zionist people and those evil people are doing. Just because you're from Israel don't mean you're evil. Just because you're from New Zealand don't mean you was a cannibal. We had to start talking about these things in the right framework. Label these things the way they need to be labeled. And when you need to put a name on a bullet, you put the name on the bullet, because then you're actually speaking directly to who needs to be spoken to, and you conveying your message direct and true to what the fuck it needs to be directed to, who the fuck it needs to be directed to. So he finds out that the bread is fucked up. They jacking shit. Shit ain't what the fuck it seemed like. Let me get out of here. How does that work? It doesn't work. I don't see a way that this could have been done after everybody else around him is acting so weird. They lied about his change of heart. They lied about the drones. They lied about it being a 30-06. So we know for sure a 30-06 wreck shit. We were talking about 30-06 in the beginning and what a 30-06 does and how long it's meant to actually travel. I was thinking because of the distance that was given to us, I was like, oh, it's not a 30-06. This has to be a different type of strap. Furthermore, I was thinking it was a modded strap, because you know you can mod shit out, different ammo, different barrels, easy mod. I was thinking all this shit to myself. Me and Kofa talked about rounds turning into flippers and we talked about this shit at the beginning of this fucking shit. Doesn't work. They pave over the crime scene. For why? So this looks like an absolute cover-up of a real deal, somebody being removed. Because what he done is galvanize the next 20, 30 something years of politics. And if he says that the Zionists are fucked off and we need to really not fuck with them, that's a lot of motion going to be going that way. The same way he galvanized people to fuck with the Republicans and fuck with Trump and J.D. Vance again, along with Barron Trump, and everybody came together and formed and reformed MAGA. Not that it's the same today. I'm telling you right now, that MAGA ain't the MAGA we're seeing today. The promises that was made by MAGA and how they finna fucking come in here and get down and give motherfuckers what the fuck they really wanted and expose the truth, drain the swamp, all that fucking conversation shit, that's at the fucking door. Let's not fuck around and play. What's up, Red? Red, you gotta come in here and drag my attention. Hope all is well, sweetheart. I tried to make your show today, but I was locked in. You hear me? But I'm gonna make your next what's your next joint? The witching hours? I plan to be there for that. I absolutely plan to be there for witching hours. You hear me? Appreciate the support, love. As usual, you already know down in NOLA, you hear me? Baby, let me get some of them catfish and beans, you hear me? I want some white rice, some red beans, some catfish, you hear me? You already know. The behavior around them is too fucking weird. From the wife to the dude being exposed for that boy love shit, which is cool. If you like boys, you like boys, whatever the case is. To even the parents of these people and the connection and yeah, it's wild as shit. The things that we could argue is the parents' involvement. We could argue the French Legionnaires. We could argue all these different points that come up, right? We could argue the military aspect of it. We could argue the we could even argue that what was the one that was brought up? We could argue the setup, right? We could even argue sleeping with the enemy. We could argue all that shit. What you can't fucking argue with is the dead set fucking lies, which makes this shit fucking polluted. You can't argue the fact that he was not fucking with them no more. You can't argue that one. Can't. Turn up, my man. What up, gangster? Hope all is well over there. You already know. You can't argue these things. He lost a big donor and said that shit plain as day. Lost a big donor. I don't fuck with these motherfuckers like that no more. They really acting like what people call them. Like the shit I've been fucking defending. You can't argue the fact that him saying don't fuck with them would not have a fucking raging fucking potency inside of the camp that he built. You cannot argue these certain facts. There's other things that you could argue. You could say, well, Candace might be tripping on this, and this don't really sit well. But what we could fucking have the hard points are the hard points, and the hard points are enough to look at TPUSA and say, y'all motherfuckers are weird as shit. Why the fuck would Trump? Yo, the way they reverence him is so fucking weird. So that's the point that I'd be like, yo, this motherfucker really might be alive, G. But then again, when I fucking look at it, it's every reason to say he is not here anymore. Because guess what? If he was faking his fucking faking being deceased simply on the reason where he found let's say the fraud was real. The fraud is real. It's gonna the fraud is real. It's money everywhere. Overpaid people. That's not his fucking job. The fucking CFO, the financial people gonna go to jail. Candace doing the law work. Candace is pulling this. Yo, Candace is taking this thing and pulling it completely apart. You know what? I'm gonna keep you a comment because I'm going to talk about that before we close up. The hard parts are the hard parts of this whole fucking thing. Can't argue those things. This is why, if the whole shit is fucked up inside of TPUSA, and he found this out, and he was destined to go to fucking jail, and then let's say the case would turn out to be he sits for 2, has to burn 6 for 2, has to burn 10, time accounted for, so he got to sit for 8. His fucking mans in them is Donald Trump. Donald Trump and them parted motherfuckers on a fucking monthly basis. What the fuck are we really talking about? If that's his mans in them, Donald Trump is his mans in them. He put Donald Trump in them. He rallied up. He got young people running. He got old people running. They got the media locked down. They running media schemes. And they galvanizing fucking people and doing like, they running rampant. You think Donald Trump won't pardon him? You think Donald Trump won't say, yo, that's my dog, bro. Stop playing my man. You hear me? You think Donald Trump is going to say, get him the fuck out of there because J.D. Vance and them need that fucking same push to put Republicans back in the fucking office? Well, Trin, Donald Trump probably, he looked like he's loyal to XYZ. He really might, if they gotta send him to the on the joint, Donald Trump might not pardon him. I highly fucking doubt it. I highly, highly doubt that he would not get a pardon. Highly doubt it. I highly doubt he could take this Matter of fact, I'm sure he could take this case to trial with the bread that they got. He could take this case to trial with the right lawyers and send the correct people to jail. My opinion. And that's it. The lies, the weird shit, the behavior of these people, the lack of concern and asking questions, the lack of transparency, this weird shit that they're carrying on with, like they want to treat people that are more interested, people who are pulling parts out of these things that is not aligning and saying this is not right. They act like those people are wrong. Even Nick Fuentes today is acting like the feds is really talking some hard body shit. The feds ain't talking about a motherfucking thing. You ask Cash, you seen Cash Patel soft ass over there with Megan, and I'm about to get. I don't want to get on Megan Kelly heels, bro. I don't. Megan Kelly comes in one way like a lion, leaving like a lamb. I don't know what the fuck she on. I don't know. I don't know at this point. Because she came in that joint like a fucking lioness, ready to tear shit up and ride and just figure this shit the fuck out like Tucker and like Candace. But now she looking real fucking weird, especially when she made that Jeffrey Epstein comment. Shit looking fucking weird. Either fucking way. Red. Regardless of what the fuck you personally feel about Candace, what she's doing is asking pertinent questions that goes directly to the fucking issues that people are having. But this is what I'm seeing. I donate my 5. And Love give us 5. You give your 5. Messi, Abiff, CIP, right? Reaper, Blade. We only giving 5s. Now, mind you, we only got 20. So you giving your hard-earned joint. You giving a quarter of what you saying, though. But it's only 5. But somebody else, they quarter might look like 2 mil. Their quarter might look like 1 mil. A quarter of them might look like 50 mil, 10 mil, right? They don't give a fuck about the small fries, dog. Because the small fries seem to be the ones that are so fucking attached to this that they are really asking the in-depth, pertinent, potent questions. Yes, love. Yep. The right questions. And at every fucking turn, that same organization that's acting weird as fuck has not turned around to answer one. You know what they've done? Slander people, deflect shit, act like shit's smooth. I'm telling you, I got homies that are ride for me the exact same way and probably do a lot fucking different shits instead of just asking fucking questions on the fucking internet. That's just what the fuck it is. I got homies that I do the fucking exact same for. Straight like that. We're not talking about family members. We're talking about fucking homies. And yes, the homies that I do that for, I consider them to be my eternal universal brothers. We are eternally brothers and sisters. There's nothing in this world that could change that. We've been together long enough. We've been through enough shit together. We have solidified ourselves in each other's lives. Candace is doing what the fuck she needs to do. To me, that's it. Shout out to Candace. Transparency could fix a lot of the shit that's going on right now. To me, it's just that simple. Transparency could fix a lot of it. I'm not done with this. I fucking promise you, I'm not done with this shit. I got another banger coming soon. Candace just dropped a video today about Erica. And for some reason, I'm telling you, I've had this vibe about sleeping with the enemy for the longest fucking time. I've had this vibe about sleeping with the enemy. I did. I have. I really have had this vibe. Sleeping with the enemy. And I was like, what? So, in good old fashion, you know how I did a couple of those where I took, which one did I take? I think I took Demolition Man, and I took like Total Recall. I did the faces, and like I play around with faces sometimes. Like when I did the Candace Owens one, I did the Boys in the Hood, and I just swapped out the faces and did it like that. Where is it? Where is it? I did this one right here. I haven't fixed it yet. But let me show you how long I've been thinking about this real quick, and then we're done. Share screen. Boom, boom. It's gonna be one. There we go. Boom. This is when I was fucking with this a while ago. I've been fucking with this a minute now. You hear me? Sleeping with the enemy. I've been feeling this vibe for a minute. For real. Something is wrong. And it starts inside of that fucking house. It starts inside that house. I'm telling you, something's off. Something's definitely off. But you know who I am. He and I it's him. Slim Trim, and I'm built to win. The real McCoy, Granny's baby numero uno, Flaco Fuerte. Yo, I am the host, humble and grateful as usual. I promise you, I'll never give you the least. I'll also never, ever overdo it and do the motherfucking most. This is from the fucking heart all the time, the heart and the brain combined. Take care of yourselves. You take the people that surround you. And love yourself so you can love the people that surround you. This thing in life is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Train every day like the marathon is tomorrow. Hey, when you're ready, you don't gotta get ready. Yo, hit them buttons, donate. We out. See y'all soon. Peace, love, power, prosperity, and Almighty shine His light upon you and protect and guide.